All right, hi everybody. We're here for workout exercise group D today. Today's exercises are gonna be box step-ups, calf raises, and overhead press. The items that we're gonna need today are a box or a step. I mean, even if you're in your home, your stairs would work.
If you have stairs, you could use we're gonna talk about a support, like railing would be good.
Yes, absolutely.
But try to find, here we have these bars, if you can set up next to something that you can use to stabilize yourself. Also, we're gonna need the same for the calf.
Yep, the same stabilizing bar for that. And then we're gonna need dumbbells for our overhead press.
Okay.
So we're gonna start with our box step-ups, and we're gonna do 6 per leg. So we're gonna come up, and then we're gonna come back down.
So when I'm using the support, see, I'm not grabbing this and pulling myself up. I'm just using my hand, even just like a 2-finger type deal, so that if I do start to, or I need something to grab,
4.
It's right there.
What we're also focusing on not doing is pushing off with our back foot. This is really a front leg exercise. 6. We want to feel that drive, so now we're going to switch to the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
and 6.
And 6. Next, we're going to come over to calf raises. Again, we're going to take, somewhere between 45 seconds and a minute in between these sets. So pause the video, get a drink of water, catch your breath.
Doing sets of 10?
Sets to 10.
Okay. So
we're going to do this on each leg, and we're going to explain later how that works.
So
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Calf strength is really important
6,
for preventing injury, especially for amputees, because you're using your sound limb to compensate
9,
where you don't have an ankle
10.
On your other side. So that calf on your sound limb is going to be doing a lot of work.
Right. Now we're going to switch to the other side, which for most of you is probably going to be your prosthetic side, because you're thinking, I don't have an ankle, how am I going to do a calf raise?
Or why do a calf raise? You still have the muscles inside of your residual limb, and in step up we talk about how you use those muscles to stabilize yourself or to extend your hip extenders during gait. This is extremely important during running, and that's what this whole set is about. So I'm going to explain a little bit. When I started running in 2018, when Nate and I kind of started this whole project, I had a very pronounced shifting of my hips when I would shift over to the prosthetic side. And eventually I talked to a therapist who said, you have to fire, like when you run, you push off on your toes, because I wasn't doing that on the prosthetic side. I wasn't stabilizing those muscles that go all the way through the extensors. The minute you do that, you start to do that. So it's important that you're going to use those muscles still when you're running. So I'm going to demonstrate. Nate might talk about how you can still see what's going on in there.
1, 2, 3. So you can see, as Scott's going, you can see his knee moving. You can see his muscle flexing there. Now you might not be getting that much movement. You might not be actually be getting elevation while you do this. That's okay. We really want you just to kind of focus on really trying to use those calf muscles, engage into the back part of your socket, or what we would usually call the heel. As you're engaging into that part, try to push into the toe of your prosthetic foot.
Yeah, you want to just do the same thing like you're pressing down with your toes. It will probably feel a lot more intense than what it did with your sound side. A lot of that is because inside of the socket, you're contracting a muscle and it doesn't have room to contract. And the other part of it is we don't use those muscles near as much as we do on our sound limb, so it's good to utilize them.
Now we're going to move into the overhead press. In overhead press, we're going to keep the weights here by our shoulders, and we're going to lift up for 1, slow and controlled down, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You might be thinking, why do I need an exercise like this, overhead press, for running? I'm trying to run here. I'm not trying to get big shoulders. What am I doing here? Well, there's a lot of balance that's going on as we're lifting up over our heads and shifting, moving the position of the weight in relation to our center of mass.
Right, and I mean, we talk about strengthening the back muscles because they're part of our core, which often people just think of abs as our core, and that's not the case.
Right.
So,
so we're gonna come back up to the box steps here. And we're gonna come for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then we're gonna switch legs. Take a little break if you need to, catch your breath. 1. These are ones that your breath can really get out of control here with exercises like this because there's just so much movement. So if you find yourself that you're breathing too hard, pause the tape, catch your breath, come back to it, come back strong. 5 and 6. Good. Back to our calf raises. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, when we were writing this exercise program, when we sat down to draw it up, Scott told me when we talked about the calf raises, and we kind of saw that he's actually able to make movement inside of his socket and to create some lift. He said, everyone can thank me for the leg cramping at night later on.
Yeah, I did say that, didn't I?
He did. So don't be overly concerned about the fact that those muscles aren't used to being used in this fashion, and you're asking them to do a hard job right now. The idea is push up to that fatigue point, don't push way past it. Save enough that you can work out again tomorrow.
And this is a good point to remind everyone to drink plenty of fluids.
Yeah, lots and lots of fluids. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. 2 rounds down, 1 more to go. So we're gonna come back to the top with the box steps. This time we're gonna show you how to alternate with the box steps.
Oh yeah.
So we're gonna come up for 1, and then we're gonna come up with the other foot. 2, and back to the first foot. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. These ones are a little harder when you alternate because you don't get that little break in between.
Nope.
So you might notice that your breathing's a little bit less controlled.
Break a little longer.
Exactly.
And again, if it starts to get easier doing it one way, these are just different ways that you can challenge yourself. What you want to do, you don't want to get to a point where you find when you first start doing the exercises and then you're pushing yourself, and then all of a sudden you get comfortable and say, oh, I like this because it's comfortable. The minute you start to get comfortable, you want to push yourself just a little bit more.
Pick up a kettlebell while you're doing these. Pick up a dumbbell while you're doing these. A little bit of weight goes a long way on the box step-ups.
Yep.
Okay, we're going to start with the ankle raises, calf raises. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And on to the other side for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good, and then the last one of our circuits for today is gonna be the overhead press again. And we're gonna go for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Great, and just like every day,
We get a bonus.
we've got a little bonus. All right. And so our clock is down, so we're gonna have Brianna kind of count us out again. We're gonna go 40 seconds on and 20 seconds off. Today we're gonna be doing planks. So I think most people are familiar with the position of a plank. There's 2 ways that we can set up here. We can set up kind of in a traditional push-up position. Here is called a high plank, or we can set up on our elbows. This is called the low plank. There's really not much advantage or disadvantage to either. It's gonna be what's more comfortable for you. So Brianna, we can go ahead and start the clock whenever you're ready.
Okay, start. 15, 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and
That was 40 seconds. That seemed pretty fast. Can we go?
Well, we could.
So what would we?
So that was 20. You
that
can
was
do 20 or
seconds.
40.
You can do 20 seconds. We'll wait till the minute's up and we'll do 40 seconds next time. That's okay. This is just a good way to show that the actual number doesn't matter. We're trying to stay on the 1 minute clock
Right.
here for the total.
You want to
amount
push
of time.
yourself. So
Push
wherever you
yourself.
start,
Yep.
like we mentioned earlier, not being comfortable, even if it's 15 seconds.
Right. That's
There's
okay.
nothing wrong with where your starting point
Nope.
is. Because you're going to find if you're keeping track of where you are by using weights or whatever to measure yourself, within less than 2 weeks, you're going to notice gains already. And when we start to see gains, that's what motivates us as humans to keep pushing ourselves and going for more.
Yep. And so you see this time my elbows, I don't really like to do the lower plank on this floor because it hurts my elbows. I'm not kind of a wimp about that.
I love it.
But the thing about it is if you're not comfortable in the high plank, you can always get a pillow, you can get a blanket, you can get some sort of a padding, you can put something under your elbows so that you're not putting that pressure on there. You want to find a spot where you can hold long enough that you're uncomfortable in other places besides your elbows.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and
Okay, great. Thanks everybody. Don't forget to do the cool down and we'll see you tomorrow.